we'll see if you guys can all rejoin. So sometimes it freezes up, and I don't know why. Maybe because it's just too good, too hot to handle, too cold to hold, something like that. Okay, so sometimes it seems like when I talk more people show up. So talkie. So I will pick things back up here in 5, 4. Well, maybe a little bit longer than that. So, yep, I'm cleaning and multitalking. Maybe that's a new word I can invent. It's not really inventing. I guess I better check my mic because I have to see if it's actually on with and charged, and I think it is. So welcome back. Sometimes it just freezes on me, and I don't know. I never know if it's the internet signal, whatever signal, or if it's something outside of my control entirely. I don't know. But okay, I'm back. You're back. People are returning. So now I got to get back into the train of thought, which is sometimes difficult. So yes, I don't want to. One of my biggest pet peeves, regardless of like what group you are in, and no, I'm just at home cleaning a little. One of my biggest pet peeves for pretty much every group online is those who just want to just kind of keep waiting for what's going to happen, right? As if we don't have any control over it, as if there's nothing we can do, but just wait for the leadership to do something about it. And as a Christian, it's even more of a pet peeve for other Christians because there's nothing wrong with talking about the Lord's return, being hopeful for it, believing it, but to just like be tunnel visioned on it and to think that you can't have a huge effect on things like in your town, online, with people that you know is like just such a lie in our own minds and from the enemy. And so it's a huge pet peeve. But for anybody, oh yeah, it's fake, granted. It's definitely fake, but it does look good. So thank you. What was I saying? So no matter what your belief system is, because that's one thing I think and hope I've gotten better at is communicating no matter what your background is. There's so many things we can do and should be doing if we truly care, right? Instead of just talking. For me, from my life experiences, making truckloads of mistakes and having some bad things done to me too over the years that shouldn't have happened. I can either use those things to benefit others. That's one huge thing I can do is either share and help others, be there for them when I see them experience what I've gone through, or I can just sort of keep it to myself and be cozy and whatever. If we're talking Christians now, I can just go to church on Sunday and tithe and feel all good about myself and just say the world's going to he double hockey sticks, right? Um, so it's a choice that we all have. And so that's a really big pet peeve of mine. I don't care where you come from, what your background is. I have sympathy if your life has been hard, but that's not an excuse to do a whole lot of things that people do, or like how people communicate with each other and just get offended by everything. It's not an excuse. So again, where I was going with all of this is instead of just focusing on Pastor Bob Joyce, Elvis, or anything, which by the way, I've only done for a couple weeks. And there's now a playlist on my channel here of I think 94 or 95 videos just on Bob Joyce and the Elvis Presley thing. So I think I went for the gold standard on YouTube to cover that topic. And there's going to be more. It's going to go over 100. But it's pretty well covered at this point. Okay, so you can I bring that to all of you and myself, and we decide what we want to do with it. Sorry, I need to catch up. That's bananas and some others. Okay, what do I think of Hitler? Well, that's a tough one. I'm not a historian, but from everything I've learned about wars the last 100 years and like why they started, how they started, different things. I don't, that's a tough one to say. That's probably one of the few topics that I'm hesitant to say. Okay, put it this way: anybody who killed many people, bad. But for me to just say that I understand all the ins and outs of everything that happened, or even that history itself has been portrayed properly, I'm not going to say that. So to just say good or bad, I don't know. It has nothing to do with me trying to just not offend anybody either. It's not that at all. It's just I really think a lot of the things that we've been told have not been accurate. So my own biases have been challenged and changed a lot the last few years. I think there's a lot of fakeness to on what transpired in the world wars, in all of them, not just one and two, but all of them. And if you've dug into it some, you know what I'm talking about. So, okay, that's truth. I'm glad you like the answer. That's a tough one. I have another channel called INFJ capitals and then Genius. So it's INF Genius. And I actually did a, like a podcast video talking about that a long time ago. But I wasn't talking about that. It was a little bit different train of thought. But there is Hitler in the title. I can't remember what I talked about. That's the only time I've ever talked about Hitler in any way. And so that's part of the reason for it. There ain't ever a fine line. Yeah, there's shades of gray on like pretty much everything. Um, unless it's like certain cut or dry truths that I do believe in, such as there is good and there is evil, and everything that falls into those categories. What do you think is your biggest failure in life, and what did it teach you? Oh, wow. I've had many failures. I guess I would start with the first biggest one, which was in high school. I was very much a rebel. I've always been a rebel, but just in different stages, different forms. Um, well, now I got to decide how much personal info I want to put out there. I had a situation actually right after high school, but it was senior year and after that I was just I'll keep it generic to protect the privacy of others. Um, I was just really selfish and stupid and focused on the life that I wanted, not thinking long term at all. And basically, I found myself in jail for several weeks. And in hindsight, it was one of the best things that ever happened to me because that was kind of the beginning of um, changing my life for the better. But it was really dumb. And, you know, teenagers do stupid things. I was still a teen. And so, yeah, some of my experiences, I think I more don't want to just talk about it because it affects other people. And I don't know, I don't know how far I want to go out there with it. But if I was talking to you one on one, it might be different. If we were friends, of course, good friends. But I don't believe in focusing on the past either. So you learn your lessons and then you move on. There's no need to focus on the past other than to learn from it. Hello from Berlin. Why are you talking about Hitler? Hello, Zach. I'm just going to call you Zach. Somebody asked about Hitler, and I just tried to give a very generic answer because my short answer is I think we were lied about a lot. Uh, Basically, for the sake of being able to go to war and wars. I'm not saying I think he was a great guy. I'm not saying that. It's just I think there's shades of gray in there, as somebody mentioned. So, okay, what else was I going to talk about? Okay, so yes, the precipice. I don't know if any of you feel it, but it feels like the precipice to me. And if you don't know what I'm talking about, I mean that coming up this November in the US of A, I really do think it's going to be like a precipice culmination moment. And uh, I don't claim to know what's going to happen, how it's going to happen. I have my theories that, sorry, I have my theories that I don't really think I can share at this point. But however things go down, it's going to be quite a show. Hopefully, a very good one by the time it's all done. Um, and I think some things are going to be really scary. I do. But that's exactly part of the reason why I don't want to just tunnel vision on Pastor Bob, Elvis theories, Hollywood. It's all playing it. It's all a part of what's happening. Things being pushed to the edge of the cliff, as it were, proverbially speaking. So that's why I think it's important to share and talk about and post videos on. Uh, I have to be very selective on what I put out there too here, and you know why. So it's playing a game is all it is. And obviously, if I live the other places, it's a different story. So, and then finally, like I was saying before, the plan to share my experiences with all of you, and I hope help even a few of you to be better prepared. Um, Not just for what's happening though, for what you want to do, for what you want to accomplish. I think I can be a good sort of leader in that way because, like I said, I've had lots of experiences. I've literally worked with thousands of people in the Marine Corps, like face to face and as a group. And I made lots of mistakes doing that too. But I learned so much from that. And um, so if you text a comment or if we're talking here, uh, I can usually understand where most people are coming from, even if I don't agree. So it's my challenge to all of you to think bigger than just where we're currently at and to think farther ahead because we do have control over what we do today in our own little world. We don't control every big thing that's happening, but we have more control than we realize. And sometimes it's just like a mental thing. What I'm going to focus on. Am I going to be grateful for what I have and believe in myself to be whatever success 5 or 10 years that I'm going for? Or am I just going to wait on the world to change, which is a mistake? It's always a mistake. And I know because I did it myself. Hi, Greg. So, who's that? H Town Rep. I talk about politics in a vague, more of a vague way, kind of a 30,000 foot view kind of way, I suppose. When I first started talking about this stuff, mostly keyboard warrior talking about this stuff, that's how it started for me was politics focused. But hi, Sasha. Welcome back. But now it's so far beyond politics. Actually, I'll explain it this way. I started by just focusing like politics, right? We got red, we got blue, all that kind of stuff. Congressmen, congresswomen, DC, all that stuff, right? That's like a label that's become really kind of like a wrong label, I think, because everything now has become political. So you pick a topic and I can find an example of somebody making it political. So that's one more reason why I think we're at a precipice is because all these things are converging. It's like Hollywood, news, music, movies, like if they were all coming from different directions and building a mountain or something, it's all it's all getting to a pinnacle moment. And so like I started with, you either see that happening and are like, man, what's going how is all this how is every industry it seems banking, right? The financial, shipping, so many things are reaching a culmination point. So, like I started with, either you believe that it's God's timing and plan, or it's just some massive coincidence or something, or it's people orchestrating all of these things. No matter how you slice it, it's happening, folks. Okay. It's happening. So, because I've been thinking about these things for so long and looking into it for so long, that's why I think I'm ahead of the game as far as I'm trying to tell people to focus on what you have control over, what you can do now instead of waiting, because we've already been waiting for the world to change for so long already. And, but change is inevitable. But what can you do today? Do you have a goal for your career? Do you want to be a better, I don't know, musician, engineer, something? Then just start doing it. In your opinion, how is a chance for winning the election? I think if it's fair, it's a blowout. Let me put it that way, a total blowout. Um, I think there's going to be some major mischief going down on 5 on November. I messed that one up. So time will tell. I hope I'm wrong about that, and it's everything seems fair, and the winner wins, who I think, and the loser loses. But I've been saying for a long time that I don't think it's going to go smooth, and I think some things are going to be crazy, and maybe it's even meant to be that way. So if I can prepare the good people that you are in some way for that, to not lose your minds and just be patient and wait, then that's my advice on that one. And you could also be the voice of comfort and patience to those around you. Samuel, all that matters is elected this year. I agree with that. As someone who grew up without a father figure, I really appreciate that you share your experience with us. Some people just didn't have a person in their life to look up to or someone that leads. Thanks a lot. You hit me with that one. I can understand that. I think at certain times in my life, I was more rebellious than others because of that too. And it wasn't just one particular job or relationship either. It's just my standards for myself are very high. They're always increasing. Basically, that's just how I've been. And so, therefore, my standards for others are really high. So, if I have like a really bad boss or anyone who should be a mentor to me somehow, and they're not, I get rebellious in a hurry and I will find a way to either mess things up or it will become known that I am not happy with the current situation. And so after I retired from the Marine Corps, I pretty much knew right away, even though I really hadn't studied business at all or being an entrepreneur, it's all just learning on my own, trial and error. I learned pretty quickly that I would rather be homeless and poor than even working at a good or even working at a, I'm going to say, average music shop and teaching if I wasn't happy doing it, if it didn't completely align with my values and what I wanted to do. So, and to make it more specific, I don't mind doing this. I could have worked for School of Rock right after I retired from the Marine Corps. Had the interview, and they liked me. I had way more than enough experience, but I knew in the first few minutes sitting down that no, this is not what I want to do, to be teaching rock to kids and doing the events, the performance, and everything. It's great for a lot of people, kids, even adults, if they do that. I think they do. But it was not what I wanted to do. So I literally was homeless. I mean, I had a car and I was living a very tough life for a long time while I was getting my own students. And but I figured out a way to sort of hack my problem. It took time, but I figured it out, and that was that a lot of parents, adults, they wanted teachers to come to their house, and I had a car, and I could charge a decent amount of money for it. It's Southern California, so that only helped me in that case, I suppose. And so I figured out what I could do, and I did it. And I eventually got to the point, not just because of teaching, but other things, that I dug myself out of the hole. It took me many years. It was tough. There were times at night in my little apartment with my bed on the floor and just this little room. It wasn't even a studio, it was a room in somebody else's house, just feeling so depressed and not wanting to share it with anybody. It sucked really bad. And the only thing I had left was that I knew I could still trust God to get me through it. And I was not going to give up no matter what, even if it meant doing that my whole life. I wasn't going to be a statistic and give up or anything like that. And sure enough, another month passed. You have those little breakthroughs. Oh, yeah, maybe something happens and you get an extra big chunk of change because you've been working like for free on certain things for so long. Eventually, it adds up, and you will get to the point eventually if you work hard. And I'm saying myself, I was easily working 12 to 16-hour days. When I get home, there was still something, oh, yeah, I could work on this video or this thing to promote what I'm trying to do, and I'm talking about entrepreneur stuff right now, but it could be anything, whatever you're working on. And so I did plenty of stuff for free, but I had the goal clear. I knew what I was working towards, and eventually got to the point where I'm not in a hole anymore. I'm free from that hole. But I would say it's been about a 6-7 year process for me. That's how long it took before I not only really felt like I got out of the hole, but mentally, I felt like all of that hope and all of that waiting was rewarded. And it's really just sowing and reaping. I believe in that. Who's the guy? Whenever I get depressed too, and I'll still do this, I will listen to. Usually, my first choice is listening to comedy because that just it just breaks that down sort of spirit feeling you have, or it helps anyway a lot. Or I'll listen to motivational speakers. Well, I did that a lot when I was down and out. Um, Maybe I don't have to do it as much anymore because I've listened to so many hundreds of hours of those. So I kind of got to a point where, okay, I see what you guys are all saying, because everybody kind of says the same thing, but in a different way. But I spent a lot of hours listening to people and successful people because like you can read all the books you want and study it, take notes and everything, but until you kind of get into that mindset and just try the stuff that's hard and just do it, um, then you're not going to gain the confidence that you need. And man, I need to get a new phone. This thing just, the battery is going fast. Let me catch up on some comments here. Samuel, you're overemphasizing. It's always been that way. It's just becoming more transparent. Sorry, I'm a little late to your comment, but I don't think I'm overemphasizing. Um, we all have different perspectives on things. So if I'm overemphasizing, it might just be because it's a challenge to explain to a wide variety of people. Can you talk about the war in the Middle East? Oh. that is really not my expertise. I try to follow what's happening on that, but yeah, I'm not going to get into that. Things we've all been waiting for have already taken place behind the scenes. We're living through the transition. It had to be this way to friend. B. Duncan. B. Duncan. Totally agreed. Yes, yes, and yes. Um, oh, I thought it was going to freeze on me. Absolutely. And I've been following all of that too, which is part of the reason why I'm at the point I'm at, which I said is trying to lead, help others to focus on what you have control over now and don't wait for 2025 or November or anything else, because things are going to happen the way that they do. And the way I see it, you're either going to have regret of how you use this year, this time that you have, or you're not. So just don't waste it. Don't waste the time. Don't waste the hard times. That's one thing I always say is that as long as I learned something from my bad experiences, then I'm not going to call that a waste. It's gonna be turned around for a positive in the end. Sacha, you're doing great with this channel. Thank you. Oh, that's what I was gonna do. I was gonna make me some afternoon coffee. You guys want to watch me make coffee? And then maybe by the time I finish this cup of coffee, it takes about 7 minutes with the French press, then my phone will be dead. Or if it just goes to a black screen, then you know why. Live your life. The devil owns the fence. What side of the fence are you most on? Yes, I get that. I'm with you. And yeah, I've never been the person to just like sit around and just follow what I'm told and all that, but we all do it at different times, different ways. And it's literally one of my biggest pet peeves now more than ever. I'm so tired of echo chambers, even some of my own that I started, and just saying the same old things or sharing the same channels, all that kind of stuff. Hi, Irma. Irma QP is back. Everyone, welcome Irma. She was one of my best followers before any of you. She loves the music, and music is the main reason I started YouTube, believe it or not. It's still a big reason. I got all kinds of playlists for you guys to check out, and I'm really bad about promoting my music. So if you like anything that I'm saying, and especially most of it, then I highly recommend you check out some of my songs, both instrumental and vocal, because I've been doing that a lot longer than speaking. That is my expertise. 15 years with the Marine Corps bands. So when I talk about working with lots of different people, thousands, and being a leader in different situations, making lots of mistakes, then those are the main years I'm talking about. But there was more before that and after. So, and I'm really blessed because I made the right choice, decided to retire early when I had the chance. That was 2015, near the end of the Obama presidency. And I saw lots of things go downhill, shall we say. And I really truly felt and believed and knew that if something went wrong and I could get pushed out of the Marine Corps, I could have been left with nothing. And so it took me literally, I think, about 9 months. It was like having a baby to decide to stay in, to reenlist for another 4 years, or to get out. And I said, you know what? This is a pretty good hand I got to play right now if they'll let me retire early. And I submitted my paperwork, waited anxiously for what seemed like forever. It was probably a couple months, and it got signed off on, and peace. Uh, in 2015, I got to have my retirement ceremony and have the day in the sun. And it was great. Um, but like I said, that for me, in many ways, that was only a beginning, because then for the first time in my life, I had learned so many things about myself and how hard you have to work to be successful, but that it's possible. And I knew that I did not want to just, for me, I didn't want to just get hired at some business and just work Monday through Friday or whatever it was. For some people, that's exactly what you need, or that's what works for you. But for me, I needed to be my own boss and work on my own time, which meant 12 to 16-hour days almost continuously, except for when I got burnt out and just needed to sleep, or, we all get to those points. But pretty much for the last 7, 8 years, 9, yeah, 8 plus years, it's been like 12 plus hour days. And I don't regret any of it. Plenty of it was tough, but I don't regret any of it now. So where did I serve? Well, Norfolk, Virginia, North Carolina, California was last. This is not in order. Hawaii and Okinawa, Japan. And then I had some really good timing and was blessed to be able to go on a good handful of short trips, either taking one of our bands, like our rock and jazz band, to another country and perform different kind of, what's the word? Like community outreach sort of thing, and oh, there goes the frozen face again. I might have to wrap this up. Did I freeze for you guys? Can you still hear me? I'm a big fan of the Marines Icons 2020 Sarge. Yeah, I retired staff sergeant, and yeah, it was an exciting and crazy 15 years, that's for sure. I consider it a roller coaster of highs and lows. But if it wasn't for that, I definitely would be nowhere near, um, I guess, where I am today. Just because one thing the military will teach you, well, I can say this about the Marines, is you learn how to suffer. But you learn that pain is temporary, truly. Just like, what's the saying for working out? No pain, no gain, that sort of thing. Yeah, I think I'm going to wrap this up. I don't think my battery is why I froze, but for some reason it just freezes up on me. So I'm glad you can still hear me. Teresa, hello. Ergis, sorry if I'm saying your name wrong. But yeah, Scott, Irma, thank you. I started this channel in 2014, I believe, but I didn't really do much those first couple years. And like I said, it was strictly music until, I don't know, probably almost 2020. So thanks a lot. Yeah, I'll wrap it up. I'm glad it froze when my face almost looks normal. But thank you all for joining me. And oh, thanks. I'm glad I earned it. So H Town Rep. Um, I think I got some work to do. I do want to get out some more videos and things today, but I'm doing more lives than I've ever done before, especially here. I tended to do more other places before, but because really to my amazement, this channel has been growing, and I guess I found some topics that are really connecting with a lot of people, that I'll be doing more lives here probably than anywhere else. So I'll be back soon. So thanks, everybody. Like I said, please check out the playlist. And I got lots of playlists, both music and Bob Joyce. My old worship band is on there, um, called Measure of Hope. And my pastor at that time is on there. We're going to add more videos for him, but one of the best pastors I ever had, if not my favorite, as far as knowing personally. So yeah, I got hours and hours of music and you may enjoy some of it. So, all right, thanks. I'll see y'all later. Take care. Have a good weekend.